Hello, welcome to My Life in Spain. My name is Mark, and today I want to talk a little bit about the differences between living in the USA and living in Spain. Now, right off the bat, I can tell you, I've been here 16 years now. And before I worked in New Jersey, an extremely expensive place to live in the United States. And Spain wins hands down. It's much less expensive to live in Spain on everything. That goes from rents, car insurance, healthcare, everything you can think of. Spain wins that one. I'll give you a good example. Cost of living. We probably spend, I would say, less than $150 a week, around 100 euros a week. So it's like 110, I think, on food. And what we do, we eat with the seasons, we eat local food, fresh food. The food here is much better than it is in the USA. You can argue that point if you want, if you shop at Whole Foods, I guess. But everything we buy here is local, and the vast majority of it comes from Spain. So including the pork, the beef, the chicken, and all the vegetables. Always fresh, always super good and reasonable. And if you eat with the seasons, it's even less expensive. I mean, if you go shopping in these supermarkets in America, you're like, what the hell? I just spent $300 for what? Anyway, let's move away from that one. So the cost of living is cheaper, so Spain wins that one. Salaries. You will make much more money living and working in the United States than you will make in Spain. You're not going to make a lot of money in Spain. The United States, easily, you get paid more money than you do in Spain. Mind you, saying that though, it depends on what job you do. If you do a lower level job, let's say like you're working in a supermarket, then Spain's probably better because they have laws about how many hours you can work and what the minimum wage is and everything. I know they have that in America as well, but they're kind of, not very high, except in a few cities like Seattle or somewhere. But otherwise, it's generally, you can't live on a salary working as a shelf stocker in a Publix in Florida, for example. Okay, next one, what's that? Taxes. Okay, yeah, again, you're going to pay more taxes in Spain. So this is where America wins again. You've got less taxes, you can make all these deductions. And this is really great if you're rich, but if you're poor or lower middle class, your expenses can be more than they are in Spain, so it kind of evens out. But again, the taxes are higher here. But for the taxes here, you also get public health care. You get free health care and also subsidized daycare. So there are benefits to it, paying high taxes. Also, pensions in Spain. Your pensions in Spain, when you become a pensioner here, you get not 12 checks a year, but 14. They give you a double check in the summer and a double check before Christmas. So that's a nice thing. And I think the average pension is around $1,200 a month, which is, you can live on pretty good in Spain, especially if you own your own house or apartment. Third thing. So again, taxes, I'm going to say America wins, but there's a big trade-off because Spain, obviously, like I say, you're not paying for health insurance. Dental care here is not free, but it's a lot cheaper than it is in the United States. I have a friend who went and got, I don't know how many implants he had done, and it cost him about $6,000 or $7,000. He said the same thing in America, in Boca Raton, where he lived, would have been about $40,000. So dental care here is cheaper, and it's also very good. Dentists go to school longer here than they do in the USA. Let me look at the next one. The work culture. Okay, yeah, I talked a little about that in yesterday's video. In America, you feel like you got to work all the time. You've got to be a team player. You've got to be the first in the office in the morning and the last to leave at night. You've got to volunteer for extra work. You've got to show that you really love your job. Here in Spain, it's different. In Spain, you have rights. Workers have rights. vacation time in America sucks. The average is, looking at all from the lowest amount of vacation time to the most amount of vacation time, the average in the United States is 2 weeks. In Spain, it's 30 days, of which 2 weeks must be taken at the same time, and your employer cannot pay you to buy the days back. Then you get 14 public paid holidays. So altogether, you've got 44 days a year vacation time on full pay. All right, what's the next thing? Let me put my glasses on because I have to look at this. It's funny, as soon as I hit 50 years old, I couldn't hold my hand out long enough anymore to see what I was reading. So I needed glasses. Okay, but let's finish with the work culture a little bit. In Spain, people, they work to live. Their job doesn't define who they are. Their salary, their amount of money they have doesn't define who they are. They'd rather work and spend money or have the time with their family and their friends. If work for them comes secondary. I mean, they have to do it, obviously, to pay for their bills and stuff. But you can still live pretty good here on a Spanish income. Like the utility bills, I forgot to mention that cost of living. Their utility bills are much cheaper here. Car insurance, for example, here. My friend's car, I had a car when I first moved here. I got rid of it, which is something I'm going to talk a little bit about later. But he pays for his car 325 euros, which is about, let's say, call it $340 a year for full insurance. Well, full insurance, I think it's called collision in the US. Here they call it third-party fire and theft. And it also includes breakdown coverage. That's for an entire year. I know some people pay that a month in America. So I gotta be careful I keep saying America because I get people writing in the comments, America isn't just the United States, it's all of South America as well, which it is. So I apologize if I upset somebody by saying America. Let me get back to the next one. Okay, we talked about vacation time already. Healthcare. You have two choices in Spain. Now, when I came here, I had a business and I paid taxes. So that entitled me to get into the public healthcare system, which I did, and which I still use today because it's excellent. Don't believe all these lies they tell you about, oh, you're gonna have to wait so long for this, or it's like communism and blah, 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 blah. It's not. And your prescriptions are probably more than 10 times cheaper than you're going to pay in the US. And the reason why is the drugs here are paid for by the government and they get good discounts because they buy in bulk. So you don't pay very much at all. I mean, you only pay a percentage. I have a thyroid medicine. I think I pay 30 cents a month for a month's worth of pills. So it's nothing. Okay, next key. The healthcare again. Private healthcare, before I forget about that. If you get private healthcare like Sanitas, which in the UK is Bupa, it'll cost you, if you're in your 70s, about 200 euros a month. So let's say $220 a month. If you're younger, it's going to be a lot cheaper, of course. Right, next one. Safety. Spain has, besides being safe to begin with, it has very strict gun laws. You can't just go and buy guns here like you can in the United States. So there's very, very little violent crime here. I mean, compared to America, there's next to none. You don't turn on the news and there's a bit of stabbing or a shooting or what have you. It's very safe. You can walk the streets here day or night without worry. If a single female could walk here at 2 o'clock in the morning in the city where I live and not worry at all because nothing's going to happen to her. So I wouldn't do that in Atlantic City where I worked. A bit dangerous. Anyway, where are we? So safety, we got a lifestyle. Okay. America is a hustle culture. It's everybody's working for the weekend, and the weekend comes, and you got to fill everything in because you don't have enough time on your work days. You're just rushing all the time, and you're stressed. And I don't know. Here nobody seems in a hurry. Nobody's like, oh, don't worry, we'll do it tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Blah blah blah. There's no hurry. It's really laid back. How do I put it? When I first came here, I still had all this weight on my shoulder I carried around from working in the United States. And it took me a few months, but once I realized that, I didn't have to keep looking around, seeing what's going on and what have you, being on alert all the time, it just vanished. All the stress disappeared. And now I go with the flow, and I love my life in Spain. I love Spain. I love the Spanish people. It's a wonderful country. Okay, last one, but not least, infrastructure. The infrastructure in Spain is very, very good. I would say it's better than the United States. First of all, you have high-speed trains, which connect virtually everywhere in Spain, and they travel at 300 kilometers an hour. So rather than go to the airport, get through the security check, wait to board the plane, here you just go get on the train. Your bag goes through a screening thing, that's all, and then you get on the train and you're off, and you're in comfort. You're sitting on nice seats. You can look out the window, see the scenery. There's a bar car at the back where you can get coffee or a beer or something to eat. And it's just a nicer way to travel than driving. But driving is not bad either. The roads here are very good. They've not got potholes in them all the time. The highways are super modern and very safe. So Spain wins on that count too. Also, because of the walkability, if you live in a city, you don't even need a car, which is why I don't have one anymore. I found myself never using it. So what's the point in having it? You're paying the insurance and then the road tax, and you're never using it. So I sold it, and I'm happy. I get more exercise. I walk everywhere I go, or I get the bus. Now in Alcoy, where I live, there's 5 bus lines, and I can buy a year pass because I'm a pensioner for 30 euros, which is about, let's say, $35 for the year. And I can travel anytime, day or night, on the bus. There's no cutoff times for peak hours or something. So it's infrastructure is better in Spain. Spain wins again on that one. There's some things you can't even really think of something that America where everybody touts freedom, but you haven't really got that much freedom. There's probably more freedom in Europe than you have in America. Sorry, again, I said America, in the United States. No, would I go back? No, I'd never move back to the USA now. I don't think so. 16 years here, I've learned to like Spain a lot. I don't hate the United States. I'm not bashing it. I'm just saying it could be so much better. Thank you very much for watching. And please subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And I'll catch you in my next video. Bye for now.